Josh, come here. We gotta talk, man.
Yeah, what's up, man?
We have to play a Mario game. I really can't stress this enough. We are nearing the end of Season 1. We gotta play a Mario game.
Okay, here's my thing. Look at the calendar. What's the calendar say?
Calendar says it's almost time up for Season 1.
Yeah, and you know what that means. Snoopy's Silly Sports. Yes, for the NES, we're going to play the best game they ever released on the console. I'm not playing Mario. I'm not playing Luigi. I'm not playing Yoshi, Peach. I don't care.
I literally can't believe you're saying this to me right now.
Mario sucks, and you should feel bad for liking it. Boom. That's what I got to say about that. Get on the Snoopy's Silly Sports train and ride the gravy train to glory with me and Snoopy. That's what I got to say about that.
Fine.
Snoopy, Snoopy, Snoopy.
Snoopy, Snoopy, Snoopy. Show him, you know what? No, Josh doesn't get his way this time. I know I said that last time and we ended up somewhere.
Snoopy, Snoopy,
but, this isn't happening. We're going to play a Mario game if it's the last thing I have to do on this podcast.
Snoopy time.
Welcome back to the Quick Save Podcast. My name is Alex.
I'm Josh.
Hey, and this is also Alex. Mario Alex.
What? I'm sorry. No. What? No, I don't like this.
Oh no, I'm definitely Mario Alex, and I'm here. I'm ready for the night.
That's great. I love that. We're not. Mario doesn't live here. We're going to play Snoopy's Silly Sports today, and that's what we're talking about?
I don't think so. I was told about Mario. Someone mentioned Mario, and I honestly crawled across town to be able to get here. So
I might have said Mario somewhere.
I was promised Mario, and so it's happening right now.
Well, this sucks, and I'm unhappy about it, but I guess we're going to talk about Mario 3.
Oh, finally! I have my day. Let's talk about Super Mario Brothers 3.
Sorry, give me a sec. Sorry to all the Snoopy fans out there.
There's no fans of that game. Don't worry about it. You apologize to nobody. You wasted your breath.
Let's talk about Super Mario Brothers 3, huh? It's a platformer game. If you don't know what Mario is by this point in this time and day and age, what?
There's no help for you.
There is literally nothing that we could do to help you. Like previous Super Mario Brothers games, you'll be stomping on enemies to defeat them, or using items to magically bestow powers on you, including flight, fire, or a giant boot. New features were added in so that the player is now able to run.
Now I wanna stop you there.
But you can run.
Yeah, you could run in the first Super Mario. Did you not know?
Mario Alex, is that true?
Did you not know you could run?
I unfortunately have to agree with Mr. Snoopy, and you can totally run.
You can run. You can run in
no.
the first. You can run in the first Mario. Have you been walking the whole time?
I didn't
know.
No.
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything. I'm not trying to, get you killed by the internet. Here we were playing Mario 3, having a great time, and I was holding the button to run and jump, and you were just walking. You were just walking the whole time, slowly gallivanting through the levels.
I was sightseeing. Come on.
You gotta have a sense of urgency, man. These kings are turned into animals. We gotta save them, Anyways, continue.
You'll also be able to slide down slopes in this, which is an actual new feature.
That is a new mechanic they added.
Super Mario Bros. 3 introduced staples to the series, such as Bowser's Children, the Koopalings, and a world map to traverse. All future side-scroller Mario titles owe 90% of their style to Super Mario Bros. 3. There's also some mini-games where you can earn power-ups and put them into your menu bar, like a little backpack almost. Mario.
It's your tool belt, actually.
Is it a tool belt?
I believe that in the manual it describes it as a tool belt.
Oh, they're even better. See, I was going to say...
This is why we have Mario Alex here.
It's like...
I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
It's like Final Fantasy. You're going to collect all those items, and you're going to be like, should I use this? No, I should probably save it for something more important. Then you're going to beat the game with a full tool belt of items, and you'll never use them.
I do that so often. On the level overworld, you can open the menu and use power-ups you have collected, giving you a boost before a level. You can use Star, which will give you an invincibility for a short period and start a level by being invincible. Other power-ups include the Tanuki suits, as well as the Frog and Hammer Bro suit.
And then some of those power-ups do things on the overworld. Like, I think you use the Hammer Bro suit to break through the rocks, right, on the overworld or something like that?
There's a special item you can have in your belt to break through it, but the actual power-up in the levels doesn't do anything in the main screen.
Perfect. Okay. There's,
there was a music box, which put the Hammer Bros to sleep.
Yep, puts them to sleep.
Yeah.
Fun fact, if you can make it to the final Bowser fight with a Hammer Bros suit, you kill him in one shot.
Amazing. I love that.
The more you know. Hey, do you guys hear that? There's like a slight whisper in the wind almost, like a whistle.
Wow, Alex, you're right. There was a whistling noise, and we all definitely heard it.
We definitely heard it.
Thanks.
Mario, Alex, why don't you tell us about the warp whistles?
Well, I gotta tell you that God's gift to third graders was warp whistles. That was in particularly my gift to myself. When I was getting so frustrated, I think I learned my first swear word on the 6th level of World 1. And I would get there, get really frustrated. My parents would honestly make me stop because, quote unquote, I got too frustrated with it.
Oh, I've been there. I've had that conversation.
But then I found out that I could feel like I was way better at the game because I got really good at like 3 or 4 levels when I was, 6 or 7 years old. And then I could make it super far in the game to only die in World 8.
That's
dream. Better than I could ever do, man.
Yeah, so there's 3 whistles in the game, the warp whistles. There's 2 in World 1 and 1 in World 2. Let me explain how they work. They go into your tool
I'm going to be
belt.
really embarrassed if that's not what it's actually called. My brother totally told me that when I was playing through it with him, and I really hope he didn't lie to me this whole year because I've been calling it that for literally the past 20 years.
Shigeru Miyamoto is going to write in and be like, it wasn't called the tool belt. Actually, it was called the utility belt, and we'll all feel like
he was the third view of the last episode. So.
Exactly. Yeah, and we keep tabs. So, Mr. Miyamoto, we know you're out there. The whistles go into your tool belt, which is the official nomenclature, as we've deemed it. So if you get a whistle, it goes into your tool belt, and you can use it like any other item in the overworld. So if you use a whistle on World 1, it takes you to the top path of, quote, World 9, is what I've seen it called, is Warp World. And it is a little platform with 7 pipes. And so if you use a whistle in World 1, it takes you to the top path, which can warp you to World 2, 3, or 4. If you use a whistle in World 2, 3, or 4, it takes you to the second path, where you can warp to World 5, 6, or 7. And then if you use a warp whistle on World 7 or 8, it'll take you to the third path, where you can warp to 8. So if you use a warp whistle on World 8, you can warp to World 8, which I think is a great feature. So you don't just lock yourself out of the game.
If you do that, you get to, let's say you're right before Bowser's Castle, and then you warp to World 8, you get to beat World 8 all over again.
Can we add that to the 100% speed run?
Oh, I think it's already on there. It's on my own speed run.
105%. Do World 8. Do World 8 twice. I had no clue about this. I knew the warp whistles were a thing. I didn't know that my boss literally told me about this. So if you use a warp whistle, so you collect 2 warp whistles in World 1, let's say. You use a warp whistle to go to Warp World. You use a warp whistle while you're in Warp World, takes you straight to World 8. Boom. Done. You just warp just straight to World 8, which is like insane.
Yep. Yeah, the little tornado comes. So that's what they'll do, and definitely speed runs when they're doing it at any percent. So also, I could be wrong about this, and hopefully I should have done more research on this before I came here, but I think at the top of it is called it's the warp zone.
It's a warp zone.
Yeah, warp zone.
Sounds about right.
Well, I guess I can just go to hell now then, because I have no clue. No, that's fine. So you go to the warp zone, warp world, warp zone, tool belts, utility belts, so whatever, right? Okay, so all the Mario fans are going to beat us. Yeah, all the Mario fans are going to beat us up. Yeah, that's all I got about warp whistles.
Well, here, you tell me this. Tell me why there are 3 warp whistles if you only ever need 2 of them to get to World 8.
Oh, it's because 3 is a lucky number in Japan.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't know for the longest time that there was a 3rd warp whistle because it's completely useless unless you want to go to World 6 and then go to like World 5 again. So it's weird.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, you could, obviously you could collect 1 in World 1, forget about 1, go to World 2. But yeah, every speedrun I watched was just like, get the first 2, go, the end. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the plot of the game, which there is one. That's right. Didn't we just talk about Solomon's Key? Plot was hard to do in an NES game?
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do is to put people in front of an NES game and go, hey, tell me what this is about. You don't get to look up anything, just the screen.
Okay, so I pulled this straight from the instruction booklet. Nintendo of America themselves printed this into a booklet and gave it to children to read. So, all right. The Mushroom Kingdom has been a peaceful place thanks to the brave deeds of Mario and Luigi. The Mushroom Kingdom forms an entrance to the Mushroom World, where all is not well. Bowser sent his 7 children to make mischief as they please in the normally peaceful Mushroom World. They stole royal magic wands from each country in the Mushroom World and used them to turn their kings into animals. Mario and Luigi must recover the royal magic wands from Bowser's 7 kids to return the kings to their true forms. Goodbye and good luck, said the princess and Toad as Mario and Luigi set off on their journey deep into the Mushroom World. There you go. That's the deep lore. Mushroom World, you heard it here first. Kingdom? No way, man. Whole thing. Mushroom World.
So, if it's not a kingdom, is Peach really a princess?
There is a kingdom.
There's a kingdom?
Yeah, it says in the beginning, the Mushroom Kingdom has been a peaceful place, thanks to Mario and Luigi. The Mushroom Kingdom forms an entrance to the Mushroom World.
Oh, I understand. So you're telling me there's just on one really big psychedelic mushroom in the middle of nowhere?
So you know how England is like the king of Europe? You know how it's exactly like that, how England is the king of Europe?
Yeah, but England is not the entrance to Europe.
Well, they formed...
Or the world, for that matter.
Here's the thing. If they tried, I bet they could form an entrance to Europe. Exactly like the Mushroom Kingdom.
I believe they tried that back in like the early 1100s
It's called
and failed.
the European Union. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This raises some questions. Old Mario lore always does. Yeah, I don't know. There's a Mushroom World. And all the kings have like... one of them's got like a turban on. I don't feel great about it. I don't know. Maybe we should be a little nervous about how they're representing some of these.
Maybe we should feel a little yucky at some of these.
But they'll get turned into the first one gets turned into a dog. The second one gets turned into a bug, and Mario's gonna save them and get the wand from the Koopalings.
Which, man, that's not hard at all. There were some of them I went through. I was like, bop, 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 done.
All right, you guys think we could name all the Koopalings? Mario, Alex, don't say anything because you probably know all of them. Roy, Iggy, Morton, Wendy. Roy? Did I say Roy?
Yeah, you already said Roy.
Lemmy.
Oh man, you
think
of these more than I can.
Lemmy is my favorite.
Did I say Iggy already?
Don't think he said Iggy.
Okay.
We'll check in the playback.
One more. Lemmy.
I'm
Iggy.
actually trying to remember the name of the last one.
Lemmy, Iggy, Roy, Morton, Wendy. I'm missing one I already named. Who's the yellow one? Is that Lemmy? Maybe no. It's Iggy.
I'm trying to think of the Koopaling. I mean, there's Bowser Jr., but I don't think he was included in this yet.
Obviously,
that's one of the children.
That's post Sunshine, when the world was forever changed. Now we get a free Google.com. What are the names of the Koopalings?
I'm impressed that you knew all those ones, and I'm just disappointed I can't remember them.
Ludwig. There you go.
Ludwig.
Okay. Iggy, Ludwig, Wendy. This says Larry.
There is a Larry.
Is there Larry?
Yep, there is a Larry.
Larry, Lemmy, Roy, Morton. That's all 7.
I can't think of what does Larry look like.
Isn't he blue?
I'll be honest. I'm looking at Larry, and I'm like, that dude. That's I don't know, man. All right, who are the 8 Koopalings? Everything I'm looking up says Larry. Let us know in the comments if there really is a Larry Koopa or if I'm just going crazy. Yeah, Nintendo.fandom. Larry.
Oh, yeah.
Larry
That's
Koopaling.
Larry.
Let me see here.
That's Larry.
Oh, Larry! My boy Larry!
He's the blue guy, right?
Yeah.
But not Ludwig has the big blue hair, but Larry's. Dude, I'm going crazy. I would if you showed me a picture of him.
Larry's my favorite.
I'd been like, that's freaking like Iggy, man. Not a chance.
All right, guys.
Anyways,
let's talk about price, huh?
Please.
So, the NES, the wonderful gray cart. We had a whole big discussion about gray carts and other fun colored carts on the Solomon's Key episode. Please go check that out if you want to hear all about that. A loose copy of Super Mario Bros. 3, $14.17. Pretty standard price, I would say. Solomon's Key was about $14. Can't go wrong, right? If you want a complete version of the NES copy, it's going to cost you just a small tad here. Only $83.
Again, we talked about this on Solomon's Key. I don't know, it's like a 45-year-old piece of cardboard. Good luck, you know?
But wait, there's more. No 5-screw.
The mystery deepens.
No 5-screw this time.
No 5-screw.
But there is something called a Left Bros version. Now, what does that mean? Alex, you know what that means?
You know, I had to get educated on this a little bit, and I haven't thought about this in honestly years, but there is a version of the game, I believe, where Mario and Luigi on the artwork appear on the left side.
You're close, but not...
Let me think. You're going to have to tell me.
This is some like deep random stuff,
I got it. No, I got it. They're liberal brothers in this one.
Oh, my.
Normally, they're very, like, right-centric brothers, but now they're left brothers.
No, the Left Bros version. So if you look at the cart on the label, bros, the word bros is in the center.
Yep, and that is so far.
And then there's a rare copy that floats around where the bros is on the left side of Mario.
And that's on the cartridge?
It's on the cartridge. It's on the box as well.
Now you're going to make me look every single copy. I'm never going to forget this. Every single copy of Mario 3 that comes into work, I'm going to look and see if it's a Left Bros cartridge.
I looked at my copy when we were talking about this. I was like, oh, hey, do I just have
And the verdict is you get a Left Bros cartridge?
I don't.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. They are rare. A loose copy will cost you $24.99. A smooth $25, just 10 more for that.
$10 more because we moved the word to the left a little bit.
That's right. Welcome to the early Nintendo pricing.
Well, it's just a word, right? It couldn't be that much more complete, right?
Complete. You're going to be running 145.53 out the door. Oh, that hurts.
Perfect. Yeah,
It's like almost double the amount.
Yeah, just pretty much double it in price because I forgot the typesetter forgot to move the word to the middle, and now he made all future copies worth like almost twice as much.
Then let's talk about the good old Famicom version.
Japanese family computer.
Loose, $14.80. Practically the same as the American copy. Complete, $42.31. Half the price of the American copy.
Probably made 1 billion copies, right, over there.
I have friends that go to Japan a bunch. It's kind of like they take a once-a-year trip there, and the reason that there tends to be a lower price on those complete in-box versions for the Famicom or just Japanese console variants in general is because they're just like wall-to-wall on those used game stores. They're just in-box, complete. They take care to like reseal them, redo the batteries in the games if there is batteries. They're just like crazy amounts of like what we don't have here.
It's just more common over
Yeah.
there. I mean, obviously, Japan is a smaller country than America, so it's probably also easy. Things were easily stored, whereas in America, you're going to be shipping millions of units across the country. It's going to be harder to find complete American stuff just because it is obviously a bigger area, right? Which sounds like dumb. Like that's what like a fifth grader would say.
It's also
America's big, so it's harder to find things. But it's just kind of the truth sometimes.
It's also interesting, like, you know, you think about kids. We talked about this last time too. Kids throw out the boxes all the time.
Honestly, I've watched my 2-year-old go down into my game room, and I thought to myself, I have no idea how I had any boxes survive as a second 2-year-old through 10-year-old.
I was telling a customer today at work, they were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get coverage on stuff just because my kid is 6 and breaks things." I'm like, valid. I was like, when I was a kid, I look at all my PS2 games I had when I was a child, like a $70 PS2 game. I'm like, this looks like I went outside on the highway and scratched it on the ground for like 3 minutes. I don't know what I was doing to my PS2 discs that left them in such an awful state. Like, I couldn't, like, if I took a PS2 game and left it on my counter for like 2 years, it would probably look better than the ones that I had as a child. Like, I don't know what I did.
Don't touch it. Just let time take its toll.
Yeah, children have a natural tendency to just like find something and do their worst to it.
In 6th grade, I was at a sleepover, and we were playing the Cube, and I had someone, I was like, hey, let's play some Mario Kart. And he was across the room, took it out of the box, and then slid it across the carpet to me, and I put it in. And like, I had thought nothing of it. I was like, oh, sweet, he didn't have to get up and give it to me. I totally slides really well. Let me slide this copy of Melee back to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just like it's like a $400 like GameCube game, and you're like, people. I'm sure kids are just like, yeah, I'm gonna set my drink on this or something.
Yeah, this is a nice coaster. It's perfectly sized.
I'll have to pull out some of the copies so you guys can see them. Like the used game stores there take just incredible care of these things once they get them. It's crazy. Anything from like the Famicom era, you're most likely going to be able to find in a box easier than you would find anything here in America in box.
And also, the other reason it's probably like not as expensive is you probably don't have a lot of like American collectors being like, I'm gonna get a Famicom game. It's just probably not something super common here in the States. I'm gonna get a game that's all completely in Japanese that I probably won't be able to read. What a great concept for me.
I'm pretty sure, like, of the collectors I know, I'm basically the only one that actively collects Japanese exclusive games.
Wow, big humble brag.
I know, humble brag. Let's talk about Super Mario All-Stars, and you're kind of wondering, hey, why are we talking about Super Mario All-Stars? We're already talking about Super Mario Brothers 3.
Pick me.
Hey, Josh, go for it.
It's got the Mario 1, 2, 3, and Lost Levels on it. All
That's
the NES
right.
games. I don't know if they're remade, but they're like reskinned. They have different skins. Looks slightly different.
I suppose they would run better on the Super Nintendo.
Maybe.
A little bit, 16 megabytes of power.
Yeah, again, they look different. That's what I got.
Alex?
I am so nostalgic for Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES that it's honestly tough for me to look at something that's super colorful and like that looks really nice on the Super Nintendo and think, man, this is not the game that I lost, a year of my life to when I was a child.
We've all had those games.
That's the thing is like, yeah, I played like the NES version all the time. So like, yeah, seeing the like All-Stars version, I'm like, something looks wrong here. Somebody did something bad to Mario in this game. It looks not good.
No, Mario!
They're like, what if we made him look more realistic? I'm like, not a chance. I want him to look like a bunch of square pixels running across the screen.
Here we don't, Nintendo.
Exactly.
Nintendo don't. No.
Nintendo does what Sega... all right, anyways, continue.
Let's look at the price of that, just in case you want to look at that interesting skinned Mario game.
If you don't own an NES and don't want to, which is a valid thought, you get it on the SNES.
A loose copy of All Stars will run you about $19.47. SNES price, that sounds about right.
$20 for 5 Mario games sounds pretty good. Oh, sorry, just 4.
Mario games.
Yeah, unless you get the one with World, which is 5.
So, I can't argue with that. A complete version of it, though, it's going to run you $96.01. Gotta get the extra penny in.
People like their Nintendo thing.
Once again, now we're going from 45-year-old cardboard to 35-year-old cardboard, essentially. The next one in line, just like Solomon's Key, it keeps going, man. Doesn't stop.
Yeah, they ported it to like 3 consoles.
Is Super Mario Advance 4, which is for the Game Boy Advance.
I have played through this one actually on my more recent plane ride, and it was kind of tough to play just because there was some subtle things that were different that they just made it a lot more kid friendly. That I
could see that.
Yeah, I went through it and I did end up beating it, but I wasn't happy about it.
Look, I didn't like this. I 100%ed everything about it.
That's how it is sometimes. To know something, truly, you got to do everything. And then
you must become one with it and one with the ways.
Yeah, you must become one with it and go, that sucked.
A loose copy runs you $18.50, which I find a little surprising, considering that you can get it elsewhere we'll talk about, and there's 2 other versions that you can get. Complete, $63.92. Not the highest of the day, but still,
honestly, here's my thing. Honestly, Mario Game Boy Advance game complete in box. It's not bad. Could be worse.
It's a decent price, I can say that much. But
I always think that the cardboard doesn't hold up as well on Game Boy Advance games because it's so much thinner than a Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
Also, those things were packed in Toys R Us stores. People were shoving them in, right? Even buying it brand new, you'd be like, oh, cardboard's all messed up. That's
Might
great.
as well throw that away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what we always say is Nintendo product equals touched by a child at some point for better or usually worse. So.
And then, last but not least, this came out on Virtual Console. Which consoles? The Wii U, the 3DS, and the NES Mini, or NES Mini.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm currently playing through Super Mario Bros. 3 with my son, and we were playing it on the Virtual Console for the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't even write that down.
Oh, I didn't write that down.
Wow.
Oh, shame. Shame on me.
They gotcha.
We all thought it. I just said it out loud.
Yes, it is available on the Switch if you have a subscription through them. You can use their Virtual Console. Honestly, probably the nicest Virtual Console I've ever played on for Nintendo games.
Easily, yeah.
They really did a good job with that. But believe it or not, we were able to find some reviews, some review scores. Ooh.
Hey, what's up here? John Gamer 495 here in 1991, just reviewing Super Mario Brothers 3 for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
That was my bit. I don't know. Anyways,
I was waiting for a review.
Anyways.
There's no review found.
That's just how reviews were back then. You'd flip the page to read the review, and there was just nothing. And you're like, did he review it or not? Yeah, let's go through the reviews.
EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, was a huge...
Dude, I was going to guess and say Electronic Gamer Monthly. So,
yep, Electronic Gaming Monthly. It was huge back in the 90s because remember, guys, the internet was just kind of being born around this point. Not everyone had total access to it. It was dial-up at best. Rough times for the internet.
You're typing into your AOL search bar the keyword Mario, enter, and nothing's coming up.
And so most people got their news and know of games through gaming magazines.
Yeah, magazines weren't just a money laundering scheme like they are today. Back then, that was how people got their news, and their interests catered to them in magazine form.
EGM gave it a 36 out of 40. There we go, back again with those weird scoring.
Yeah, 40 is a very weird metric. I don't know. What a weird concept. Like 50 makes sense. Why
50,
40?
100, honestly, out of 10.
Is it like, yeah,
Make it, simple, right?
maybe we're quantifying 40 as like, if it got a 10, that'd be like 25%. The whole thing is kind of
Maybe it's like the rest of the world uses metric, and in America we just had to make something way more difficult to use.
Well, they're not the only one, right? Let's go to the next one.
Let's talk about Famitsu, which is the Japanese Nintendo gaming magazine. I've never seen one. I can't really describe it. Pretty sure that's literally all they do is basically Nintendo stuff. They might have talked about other things, but I think Nintendo is like their big thing because like the Fama in Famitsu comes from Famicom. So they give it a 35 out of 40.
So you're
Why are we out of 40?
Also, you're like, they only do Nintendo stuff. So I don't know if there's some deal with Nintendo, but they rated it lower than Electronic Gamer Market.
I know.
The Nintendo branded like review outlet gave it a less high score than
I was just going to say, Nintendo Power had it at a 23 out of 40.
Yeah, Nintendo Power said, this is our worst game of the year. We give it a 3 out of 42. So.
And then Game Zone.
Okay, I want the hat trick. I want them to all be out of 40. That would be funny.
The Game Zone gave it a 93%.
Why did they use a percent, man? It's like a loading bar.
When I was looking
Like
through
93
reviews,
out of 100, it'd be like, okay, I get what you're going for. They 93%.
when I was looking through reviews, I couldn't find another 40. I really tried because I'd be like, oh, look, back in the day, it was all out of 40.
They all reviewed things. That's just how video game reviewers were back then. They decided out of 40 was the best metric.
I think the more interesting side of this is like, oh, it's cool. We found some like older reviews that say like, oh man, it was really great, right? The best part is that like when it came out on Virtual Console for like the Wii U, there's a whole nother section of like reviews and ratings for just that.
Everybody had to get their piece of the pie, right?
So like IGN,
yeah,
Game
absolutely.
Informer, like all these other like companies now.
They'll be like,
Oh, well, Mario 3 is a great game. There's my issues with it.
and be like, dude, it's freaking like it's like 2013. Yeah, Mario 3 is a good game. I don't need a review on it. Yeah, Mario 3 is good. Done. Like
Overall, Super Mario Bros. 3 widely considered to be one of the best games ever released on the NES.
Can anybody even name a game that's better on the NES other than Snoopy's Silly Sports?
Solomon's Key, no. JK.
Not a chance.
JK on that one.
Not a chance.
Great game, not that great
Better
though.
than Mario 3. Shatterhand is pretty good. I like Shatterhand. Clash at Demon Head is pretty liked by people.
I mean, it's Dragon Warrior here in America. In Japan, it was Dragon Quest.
Fantasies.
Final Fantasy, that's really good.
It is. Everybody's going to be able to talk about Zelda.
Zelda
1 is better than Mario 3. I'm gonna go with a no on that. That's just for me. Wandering around
Zelda didn't get
aimlessly.
good to me until like probably Ocarina of Time. It was
Oh,
really
really?
when
You don't like anything before that?
I
No
mean,
comment.
like
Link to the Past.
Link
is
to
my
the
was
Past
gonna
was
say
good.
I was gonna say Link to the
it's
Past.
good, but like the moment that I really was like Zelda was Ocarina of Time, and then like everything after that, I'm just like all for.
Metroid was pretty solid too on the
Oh,
NES.
yeah, Metroid was on the
OG
NES.
Metroid pretty good.
Yeah, I like
That's
the
true.
OG Metroid.
What about Ninja Gaiden?
Which one? 1, 2, or 3?
Probably 3, honestly.
Probably more Mario guy.
Mario Guy.
Probably more people have just also played Mario.
Mega Man.
Ooh,
2's good.
Yep, that's a great
2
call on
and
that one.
Beyond is pretty good. Yeah, and 1 is kind of hit or miss. But
Just all of us trying to remember NES games.
I don't know. There's good NES
Punch
games.
Out. Punch Out.
No way. No way.
No way.
I never
No way.
liked Punch Out. I just got
Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
yeah, that was way
I'm
better.
there.
Honestly, I think that probably the greatest golfing game of its generation is
Can I-
Mario Golf.
Oh, okay. I was going to say NES Open. That was going to be my.
It is NES.
Oh,
Open.
they're the
Yep.
same thing.
Yeah, it is. And also the cover art on it is awesome because Mario is an American flag suit.
Yeah,
so.
he's wearing the whole American flag suit. You know?
Yeah, great. Really, it's really good and really well balanced.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's a bunch of NES games we just listed off. Some are maybe better than Mario 3. Probably not a lot.
Doubtful.
This game is good. It's very good, especially for NES at the time. This game's pretty amazing.
It's still amazing today.
I think that I don't think that there is a better graphics on any NES game other than Super Mario Bros. 3. Also, I don't think I could name a better soundtrack either.
Yeah, I would agree.
Better
with both of
soundtrack,
those.
Pictionary, hands down.
Pictionary's got some funky beats, but overall, this has more great tunes. Well, let's talk about what we think about the game, even though that's pretty much what we've been doing for like 40 minutes. So,
I'm going to start off here. Save states. Save states. Save states. Use save states. Once again, we're playing an NES game. Almost, I would say over half of these games don't have like any way of saving or like level passwords or anything like that. The game's great, and I really did love it, but the use of save states was a godsend. It made it so much more manageable. Oh crap, hey, I died at this level like 3 times. I don't have to restart the entire game. I can just load my save state and rework the world again.
I will say this specifically about Mario 3. So when we played Solomon's Key, save states, it feels pretty important to abuse those because extra lives are pretty few and far between. And this, I will say, lives are more common. It's kind of meant to be sort of an entry point into the series. Coins are pretty abundant. You can find extra lives. So I will say, this is a game where I would say I don't think you require save states to play it, much like Solomon's Key, where it's like if you die twice, start the entire game over. But I will say, much like you mentioned, they are a very valuable tool for sure, especially when you're stuck on some of these later, harder levels.
I mean, the way I look at save states, like if you're doing a 100% run, you don't need a save state because you should be able to beat the game 100%, like, you know, pretty easily if you're going for that at that point. If you're playing it for casual, you know, like, hey, I want to try doing some classic Mario platforming. I want to try to, you know, learn to run finally in a Mario game. Save states, pretty good.
Oh, one thing I always get frustrated with is like I watched a kid who was like in 2nd or 3rd grade. He was pretty good at video games, and I watched him play Super Mario Bros. 3. And then he was playing it on the Switch console, and then he died, and then he just like rewound
did the save
it.
state?
And I was just like, oh man, like you can't do that. That's not how this game was meant to be played. Like I want you to suffer like I suffered.
Like it's nice to have like a save area, you know. I think like if you know, to appeal to your old school way there, Alex, I think a good way of doing this would be like at the beginning of each world maybe. You could do like a save state, so that way you could save your progress. But then, like, if you wanted to move on to the next one, you had to like actually play through the game, right?
You can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure if you die in the middle of the world, you get 3 continues and you get 3 lives per player, but you have to start back at the beginning of the world, and then you get to attempt it again. So you don't have to start back.
Yeah, I was
like,
going to say,
It's smoked here.
I was going to say, if you run out of lives, they'll just start you at the back of the world.
Yeah, you get to do it 3 times though, and then you're done. I remember that very specifically because I remember when I was young, I remember I'd have to start the whole console over because if I used one of my continues on World 1, it's like I started.
Right. What was the point? Right.
Yeah, there was no point.
Now he's throwing his phone around.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Yeah, well, he's super
He is
man.
pissed.
We showed him up, and
I'm
now
getting bullied, Mom. Josh, how about you? I'm just gonna lie down.
drink some water and lay down. Honestly, what stood out to me, and I'm going to talk about this a lot later too, but is the soundtrack stands out. Obviously, the insanely talented Koji Kondo, who has done music for pretty much every mainline series game in some way or another. He crushed it with the soundtrack. And much like everything else with this game, a ton of the music not only stands out, but it's been used throughout the series. So, I mean, even just starting the game, you'll be like, oh, I've heard this song in a different Mario game. Because a lot of the songs that exist here are going to be brought back later. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, I've heard this before.
I do think that's always great in the current day games that like they do a lot of throwbacks now, which I really appreciate. And there's always a ton from Super Mario Bros. 3 because there's so much to grab from, especially in the music.
Yep. So here's, we're going to sidestep a little bit. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I haven't seen the second one. I saw the first one, though. Huge backlog of music. 30 years of music that you could pull from.
Amazing music, even.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, Michael Jackson ghost wrote the music for Sonic 3. No Sonic music is ever used in the movie. What a complete wasted opportunity. You have the 30 years of some of the greatest music ever made for the Sega Genesis. Just none of it's used at all. And I'm like...
Nintendo does a great job of being able to play back like that better than I think any other console. Like, I mean, just think of Breath of the Wild, like how many references there are to everything. Like, I don't think we've even discovered all the old references. And the game's been out for years.
Yeah, there's like, that's the great thing, especially with Breath of the Wild 2, is like people will go, they'll be like, look, this is the Ocarina of Time horse stable, right? Where you like, and it's like, this is the exact fence where, you know, people have mapped it out. They'll go to the place in Ocarina of Time, they'll go to the place in Breath of the Wild and be like, look, this is the exact same location, right? So yeah, Nintendo's really good about referencing their history, which is super cool. And again, like we see that with a lot of, pretty much in my opinion, the entire game, like we mentioned, all the future Mario side-scrolling titles are just Mario 3 references. Literally, it's like there's 8 different worlds, and each world has a Koopaling, a Super Mario World, New Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers Wii U, New Super Mario Brothers 2. They're all literally just like, what if we just did Mario 3 again? Which is like,
that's
great.
An easy one to redo.
Very true. Mario, Alex, what do you think about Mario 3?
You know, I gotta tell you that Mario 3, I think, just really holds a special spot in my heart because I remember coming home after school before anybody else got home and just like, okay, today is the day that I'm going to beat World 1. And I remember countless times I would die on level 6. And it was really something really fun that I could do with my brother and my sister, just because like we could, like, even when I was really small, my brother and sister were playing through the game, like I got to choose, like, in the mini games, like where we got to check on the cards, or like I got to say which box to be able to choose to like which ones we want. So it was just like good to be able to have like some of those small things for me. So even when I was like 3 and 4 and 5 years old and like I couldn't hold a controller upright, like it just had something for every single person in it. I also really liked too that it was like that you had some levels that like everybody really struggled on, and even my brother, who was like 6 years older than me, just like, oh man, like I'm Luigi and he's Mario, like the good younger brother always is. It's just like, okay, like I can beat these 3 levels, but I really need my brother to be able to get past this because there's no way I'm getting to Bowser Castle without my brother's help.
This is not my favorite Mario game.
Yeah, that's a
Get
lie
'em.
if I've ever heard that.
Get him. Push him down on the ground. Let's bully him some more.
No,
Yeah, why don't you
please
throw your
stop.
phone again a little bit? Just break your phone. Wash out your mouth with some soap.
You know
I'm
what?
sorry for your
It's
parents.
been great, guys. I'm just gonna leave.
Sorry. So you said this isn't your favorite Mario game, right? So is this
Certainly, it's your favorite one on the NES.
So it's
Yeah, it's my favorite one on the net. We'll go. I won't say anymore. I've already dug my hole deep enough.
You said it's not your favorite Mario game, so should I consider this formal resignation or?
Let's call this a coaching moment.
Yeah, perfect. Written warning, level 2.
No, it's not my favorite Mario game, but it's very easy to see why people like consider this to be the best one.
The biggest thing I think is that it was just so ahead of its time for
Yeah.
what it could do. Like if you look at other games from that area and you look at the graphics and like you look at the gameplay, it's just like there was so many more dimensions to Super Mario Brothers 3 and just like being able to warp different areas. And like really the only like the games I can think of that are kind of close to it are like Metroid kind of. Another game we didn't mention that I thought was really great that I played with my brothers and sister was Bubble Bobble. And like that had something with like a lot of really good team effort, but that you could do like together with people. But I don't think I could think of any other game that had so many more levels of complexity in it in that area. Like so many of them, it was like Rad Racer. It's like, okay, let's get these 3 races over with as fast as I can. And like it's the exact same every single time, but each world is so different. And it's just like who thinks about like having like Mario go into a world and then a giant sized world. Like it was just like it had so many unique ideas that no other game had thought of prior.
And not even just that, there's how many NES games can you name have worlds where you don't have to do every level? Like you can just skip levels if you
that's
want.
cool.
Be like,
Freedom of choice, baby.
yeah, just like, yeah, you can do level 1 and 2 and then go to the boss.
Super Mario Bros. 3 was woke way before it was cool.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, there are a lot of things that stand out as like very unique to this being an NES game. Anyways, Alex, we interrupted you. Please continue.
Well, Super Mario Brothers is a staple in video game history. I don't think anyone can really argue that. But this title alone cements it even more into that fact. I had a great time playing through it. I definitely plan on returning back to it and probably playing on original hardware next time. You know,
It's got a ton of
maybe I'll go
replay
for
value.
like a complete run, and I'll text up Mario Ox and be like, I did it.
Cut to us holding you down, like handing you an NES controller.
Now let me play my favorite Mario game.
the indoctrination has begun.
So I played this game a ton growing up. One of the lucky few to do such, I guess. But I was super happy to revisit it. So everything is so memorable on the NES, especially bright Technicolor like landscapes. The snow levels I think are really cool. You're in the caves, it's like dark, you're up top, it's bright and snowy. New enemies that are still there today. I was playing the guy who like spits out the little spike ball and throws it. I was like, I had no idea this was a Mario 3 enemy. I thought that was just like one of the later 3D enemies. No, just straight up, he's from the NES era, which is like wild. And all the power-ups too, I thought it was really cool. The frog suit, swim through all the water levels in the frog suit. Get the raccoon suit, Tanuki suit. Really, this game really does have it all for being an NES title. There's a lot to love. So
I think that you touched on something that was really cool too, that was more unique, that it had so many more power-ups than what you could do, and they were so different from one another that you go from just like a fire flower to like having all of these really great things to be able to do, and just like be able to try and keep it. Like, I don't know how many of you tried to do this, but like it's just like, how long can I possibly keep this awesome suit here? Like, and I remember like almost being in tears like when I would lose my Tanuki suit, be like, man, this was awesome. Or like just being able to make sure, like, or like hopping in a boot or something is just like just a cool concept to be like, all right, there's no way I am not going to keep this boot to the end of the level. What is your favorite Mario?
Super Mario World.
I was gonna ask him. I was gonna be like, since you don't like it, what's your favorite?
So we actually were talking about it before that. So the one I have the most nostalgia for is Super Mario Bros. 3, just because I played it to death, and like that's what I did every day after school.
See, that's what Super Mario World was to me.
And I think that like the one that I had the most fun playthrough the first time was Super Mario World. And if I had to choose one to play forever, it would be Odyssey, just because there's so much to do in it.
See, I wasn't a big Odyssey fan. Like, I'm not nifty, but like it just feels so detached.
So I agree that like it's definitely not my favorite one, and like it has. So I love Super Mario 64 like everybody else, but like I feel like it wasn't
fun, but it's not
closest
like
to that.
timeless fun. Like, there's only so much I could play of 64 before I was like, all right, guys.
Yeah, like the thing, there's just like so many things to find in Super Mario World where I feel like 64 was like, okay, like we had a couple of awesome things where like it's like, oh, there's a whole other city on the other side of this wall.
Odyssey's got some crazy stuff in it too, because like I know in Odyssey, when you first get to like go through like the electric lines or the pipes or whatever they are, you can like jump all the way to like New York.
Yeah,
like passing through like 5 levels or something like that.
I do really love the cityscape for Odyssey. That was really fun.
Yeah, the whole like
Metro Kingdom's
jazzy
amazing.
Metro thing is really cool.
Yeah.
I love watching Odyssey content because I played through it. It was fun. The whole game is so pretty, and I like watching people who are good at that game be good at it.
Yeah, I don't know how people are so good at that game. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, the speed run's like an hour long, which is like insane. The game is so big.
There's, oh gosh, what was I just watching? I watched a guy that beat it blindfolded, which is, I mean, bananas. Like, how do you beat that game?
Yeah, I watch a lot of modded content stuff, and there's a guy who made a multiplayer mod.
Oh, yeah,
so
I've seen that.
Yeah, so you can have multiple people just like playing, and they'll do like hide and seek.
Yep.
It's like a hide and seek mod where like one person's a seeker, they'll just go to a kingdom, everybody has to hide, and then one guy will just like
that's really
find
fun.
them
I've
all,
seen that,
which is super fun. Yeah.
Have you ever seen minimum captures?
Dude, minimum capture speedrun is insane.
It's nuts what people do. Like, I mean, oh my gosh, like it. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. I think we talked about this. I'm just gonna say one other thing before we keep going. My other vote was for Super Mario Bros. 1. To talk about on this podcast, just because I love watching speedruns of that so much.
That game, okay, this game is kind of the same way. We'll get to speedrun stuff, but that game is like you're counting milliseconds. That's the speedrun is like, it's literally like pixel perfect.
So I just watched a video maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. I can't remember the kid's name, but he's like 16.
Salt?
What?
Summoning Salt?
I don't know.
I love Summoning Salt.
Oh, well, he was the first person in the world to match the task until 8-1. And he had to, there was one trick that they broke down. He had to have 16 frame perfect inputs in the span of like 10 seconds. I'm like, how do you possibly have 16 frame perfect inputs? Like, yeah, I mean, there's a reason only one person in history's done it, but I mean, it's just like, how? Like, especially like the things they do to save a frame is just like stupid.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that combo you showed me.
Do you know what Daigo parry?
Oh,
Heard of that
yeah.
before? Okay,
Yep, yep.
Alex not only didn't know what the Daigo parry was,
What?
he didn't know what Evo was.
What?
I was like, bro, you don't know what Evo is? He's
You don't
no.
like all of like the top Smash players like, I'm gonna win Evo.
Yes, he had no clue. So I showed him the Daigo parry. He's like, that was amazing. I'm like, you're damn straight it was amazing. It's the greatest Evo moment that's ever happened.
My favorite
He
thing.
went on to lose that fight, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, but it was just still awesome.
And then they make him, and they'll bring him out. They kind of wheel him out for like charity Evo events. They'll be like, hey,
I can't remember who's the top Melee players. I can never remember their names. They always like, so there's Hungry Box.
Yeah, I was gonna say
and-
H-Box is the one I know.
Yeah, and so like
Mewtwo.
Mewtwo King.
Yeah,
Mewtwo
Mewtwo
King,
King
there we
is
go.
really
just
good.
for, I think that was just for Melee. He was good at Ultimate, but not like Melee.
Yeah.
is kinda
Oh
his whole
gosh,
deal.
this is gonna drive me nuts. I used to watch them all the time, but because I remember their last Evo was insane because the guy who won had to reset the bracket and then they won. So
Yeah, I did see the most recent one where H-Box was in the losers bracket and came back.
For
This
Melee?
is gonna be a nightmare.
Sorry, not for
edit,
Melee.
But I
That
love
was
it
for,
all.
I think that was Ultimate, maybe.
how was it?
Oh,
Yeah,
no, it was Melee.
because
He was playing as Puff.
he's really good at Ultimate, but he's not like the best.
Yeah, it was Melee because he was playing as Puff,
Yeah.
and then the other guy was playing.
he
as
plays his
Fox.
Puffed in Ultimate too.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Back to the
Who was
podcast.
talking? So
I was.
perfect. Go right ahead.
Playing on the Retron 5 definitely gave me a disadvantage, and it gave us a disadvantage, but you got a chance to play it a little bit later. The controls felt really floaty for me, and there's definitely probably some dropped inputs.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I was there. Dropped inputs, a lot of them.
Alex, you played at home on, what would you play on?
So I was playing with my son, so I almost always play it with him on the Switch console.
All right, so
and
you're
I mean that
using
was like perfect.
Virtual console.
Yeah, it was seamless. Like I didn't notice really anything.
You know, I learned, hey, with some patience and some practice, you can play through the game pretty well. I mean, definitely there are times where I'm like, I just flew for no reason, but yeah, that'll work.
I mean, it's no Mario, like Super Mario World, where it's just like get the cape, fly through every level, win the game.
Yep, but like there are definitely times where it's like, okay, I'm gonna jump, and I slid into like some, unfloored hole all the way down to the depths of Mario Hell.
Yeah, it's like flying, drop down, and dead because there was no ground.
One thing I will say that I'll interrupt is that the last time I 100%ed this, like I thought it was a couple of years ago, and I didn't think that I'd remember where all the secrets were, but like I would just come up to places like I know this exact thing that I need to be able to do, or like I know which sand one is going to go all the way down. I know which doors to be able to choose to get through this. So it comes back. It's like riding a bike.
But what about you, Josh? What'd you think of that Retron 5 goodness?
Hey, Retron 5, I love the Retron 5. Save states make everything so great. Playing Game Boy Advance games on the TV, what could be better? Yeah, there was latency. I was like, there's latency. You're like, it's fine. I don't think it's that bad.
It's been a long time since I played Super Mario Brothers 3 before this. I mean,
at work today, I did some creative R&D in my downtime, and I played some Mario 3. I was talking to my boss. I'm like, Alex was like, yeah, it's just kind of floaty. It's just kind of like that. Let me tell you, I played on NES. It is not just kind of like that. The controls are super tight, and it controls great. There was just latency. I don't know, from your Retron, from the controller, one of those two things.
I don't know. It was super weird. Solomon's Key. We played Solomon's Key on the Retron
It was
5.
fine.
Tight.
This game is
No
also
problems.
This game is also faster paced than Solomon's Key, probably part of the issue. But yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. But let's move on. I got a fun game for you guys.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna name some enemies.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna read the name.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna read the names of enemies.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then I want you to guess. You'll have to describe what they are. Obviously, I'm excited. I want Mario, Alex. I want you to answer second because I have a feeling you might know some of these or most
right.
of them. So I'll start with an easy one. What enemy is a Goomba?
A Goomba is a walking angry mushroom that has 2 feet.
Correct. That is what a Goomba looks like. He's a little mushroom who moves towards Mario. There you go. All right. Which enemy is a Boo Diddley?
Come on, Mario, Alex.
I mean, I would assume it's the booze in the castle.
It's just the Boos.
Yep.
They used to be known as Boo Diddleys, and then Boo Brothers. But now we just know them as Boos. So yeah.
Weird.
Okay. Which enemy is a Stretch?
Oh, stretch.
I think this is only present in one level, and it's devastating if memory serves.
Alex,
I can't think of what a stretch would be.
you also probably didn't see it. I think that's maybe later in the game. Mario, Alex, what enemy do you think is a stretch?
Yeah, there's a piranha plant that's outside of a tube that can increase in height to like 5 times the height of Mario, so you have to be able to
What?
That is not a stretch.
Oh, really?
Really. A stretch is the boo that's on a platform.
Oh, is it the fire one that jumps from platform to platform?
No, so it's like the white platform, and a little boo head sticks out and moves across the platform.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a stretch.
Oh, wow,
That's
okay.
a stretch. Yeah.
Those are annoying.
They are annoying. Okay, and now, Alex, I will say you have seen this one. Which enemy is a Podoboo?
A Podoboo.
Podoboo.
Podoboo? Podoboo? Podoboo?
You guys are going to love this one.
I've seen this one?
Correct.
I think I might know what it is.
I'm gonna go with like it still must be a boo because it has boo in the name. Is this like maybe?
Sorry, do you want a hint?
Yeah, sure.
It's not a boo.
It's not a boo. What? Okay, a Podoboo. Podoboo? I don't know which
The
way
name,
to say
I'll be
it.
honest, the name is not going to help you get anywhere. It's completely unrelated to the name, pretty much.
It is the jumping flame.
The jumping flame. Oh, like the little fire guy in the
Yeah.
sand level that jumps around?
Yeah, that's a Podoboo.
That is incorrect.
Oh,
Mario,
gosh.
Alex, what about?
Is it the red flying Goomba?
No. It's the fireball in like the castles. When you jump over the little lava lakes and
Oh,
the fireballs jump
what?
out. Those are called Podoboos.
Weird.
I don't know why they're called that. Maybe it's a holdover from like Japanese stuff, but I don't know. They're called Podoboos. This is official Mario Wiki. I don't know if this is wrong. Go yell at the moderators on the Mario Wiki. But okay, this is I saved the best one for last. Which enemy do you guys think is the Pile Driver Micro Goomba? You've seen this one. You've seen
This one, the name at least makes sense and isn't in Japanese.
Yeah, Pile Driver Micro Goomba, which is that was also my nickname in high school. Pile Driver Micro Goomba.
A Pile Driver Micro Goomba. Well, Goombas are mushrooms.
Correct. That is correct. What's a Micro Goomba?
A small Goomba.
Correct.
I don't remember seeing a small Goomba anywhere. That's kind of the problem. And a pile driver, so it knocks you. It goes after you essentially because pile driver would be knock you to the ground.
Well, yeah. So Pile Driver is the move where they grab you and drop you to the ground. That's just like the wrestling.
I'm gonna put you out of your misery on this.
Is this a tornado? Is it the tornado things?
That's not a Micro Goomba at all, man. That's a tornado.
That'd be micro because I couldn't see the damn thing.
Okay, what is a Pile Driver?
I can only imagine that there's a Goomba in the game that flies around above you that drops micro Goombas, and then once it gets around Mario, he can't jump probably more than 10% of what he normally does, and you have to mash buttons to be able to get him off.
That is well, it's got the spirit. You know, in the sand levels, the little brick guys that jump around.
Oh my god!
No, it isn't.
Pile Driver Micro
No,
Goomba.
it isn't.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That was a tricky one.
Yeah, Pile Driver.
I would have never thought.
So the little guys jumping around, those are Micro Goombas. So you can see like the little feet. So they jump
my
around.
gosh.
But yeah, the little brick on top, the bricks that jump around. That's a Pile Driver.
What is that Goomba then that drops all the little mini
Not a clue.
Goombas?
We could pull up the wiki and find it.
We need it. There's no way that can't be it.
Let's see.
I'm just shocked. I'm told. Not only have I been smoked today by the both of you, I have also been pile drived by a mini Goomba. Apparently,
First of all, it's a Micro Goomba.
or micro Goomba.
For all we know, a mini Goomba could be something different. Enemies. Okay, let's see. All these images are so small. Big Bertha's the fish. They're not bloopers. They're bloobers. And there's bloober babies.
Okay.
Bombs are the little. They look like the black orb guys.
They look like bombs.
Correct, but not as we know them.
Alex, I'm proud of you getting some of these right.
Boomerang brother.
It's a hammer bro with a boomerang and goggles.
Correct. Also, sorry, Big Bertha, giant cheeps who carry babies in their mouths. Different than Boss Bass.
What?
Boss Bass is the one that swims on the surface left and right.
Oh my god, that thing!
That one's your nightmare that ate you a billion times. But okay, this is the best animation is the Buster Beetle, who is he's the buzzy beetle, but he picks up the bricks and throws them at you. I just really like that animation of him picking up the bricks and throwing them. Probably under Goomba, right? That would probably make sense.
Yeah. I'd imagine that the Goomba to the flying Goomba to the Goomba that can drop the little mini Goombas would all be different
Grand
names.
Goomba. Yeah, let's see. Maybe Paragoomba, right? That would maybe make sense.
Paragoomba. Yeah.
Let's take a look.
That's what the Lego version of it calls. I had somebody buy that for
I'm
me.
still trying to get over Pile Driver Micro Goomba.
Oh,
Is essentially a block
I totally
with
got
legs.
it. I totally got it. Paragoomba. Paragoombas are winged Goombas. They become regular Goombas after one stop. Brown Paragoombas fly around dropping Mugger Micro Goombas onto Mario.
No kidding.
All right, I'm sorry. Aren't Goombas like brown? Like
Yeah. Okay, yeah, but there's light brown and dark brown.
Yeah, there are.
The dark brown, dude.
I hate this.
Do I have to
I hate
explain it
this
to you,
so
man?
much.
The dark
Let's
dark
get just
brown,
like shades darker until like we
the
make a
dark-
new thing.
The dark brown Paragoombas drop Mugger Micro Goombas on Mario. How hard is that to
I have
remember?
a light blue and a slightly darker light blue. These are two different things.
Ludwig has blue hair, and what is it?
Larry.
Larry, thanks. Larry is blue. It's different, man.
Is there a different name for the red Paragoomba?
No, I did see that. It just says red Paragoombas,
Right.
like jump twice or whatever.
For the Paragoombas that drop the Mugger mini Goombas.
Yeah.
That's one of the secrets that you can get infinity lives for in one of the levels. You get a Paragoomba over top of it, you get a turtle shell, and then every time that you hit one with a turtle shell, once you get to a certain point, it'll just give you free lives for the course of the level.
Nice. All right. Mario, Alex, what are your last thoughts here?
You know, when I started playing through this game again, and I was like going through with my son, and I thought to myself, man, like all I want him to do is love Super Mario Brothers 3, and that's why I kind of force feed him Mario. Like he sleeps with a Mario blanket. Like, hey, do you want your monster truck to go to bed? Yeah, Dad, I do. And it's like, you can have your Mario or no toy at all. And it's just one of those things that like I'll be able to come back to with my brother and my sister, and like we will get together on Christmas, and like if somebody has it out, like we will all sit down and play it. So it's just like a timeless game that has a ton of replay value, where there's a lot of games where I didn't play growing up, and like people are like, yeah, this is a great game. I'm like, okay, yeah, like I don't have any nostalgia for it, but I've had plenty of people come back that really haven't played Super Mario Bros. 3, and they've still really had a good time with it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I remember when we first met, I was talking to you about like, oh, this game, that game. You're like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, what? You're like, anyways, Mario guy. This is what we're going to really be talking about today. Thank you. And it was just so interesting to adjust to that, being like, oh yeah, Mario Alex literally is just Mario or nothing.
Yeah,
it's Mario or bust.
Yeah, like even like when I'll trade games, like I'll have like a super high end title that's like box complete in it, and they're like, hey, like this is awesome. I was like, I could take it or leave it. If it was out of my collection, I would never miss it. And it's like, but that another copy of Super Mario Brothers 3, that's what I need.
All right, well, I think we'll get a move on here. Wait, I'm sorry. No, there's already too many guests on this podcast. I can't have another, like, we can't do like a joke bit character here.
No.
So please, he's kind of little and spiky. Can you move out of the, dude, this is my spot, man. You can't sit here. You can't.
Out of the way! My name's Larry Koopa.
I'm sorry, did you have to read your own name?
I forgot which one I was for a moment. But I'm Larry Koopa. And this is the Speed Corner.
That's my spot. Move. You guys just gonna let Larry take my spot?
What are you gonna do about it, punk?
I mean, let the ghost of Kremblo just like, beat him up if it's not, permissible.
Ghost of Kremblo, if Larry's in the wrong, beat him up.
Well, sucks to suck, huh? I ain't getting beaten up by no ghost. Alright, let's talk about the speedrun of Mario 3. There's a couple different categories. There's 100%, which is where you beat the game, you enter and complete every stage, and you do all the Hammer Brothers fights. Even the secret ones you gotta find. That's part of the 100%. Even if you do the thing where you beat everything and they turn into the ship with the coins, you either have to beat the ship coin level, or you have to die on the ship level to turn it back into a Hammer Bros and beat it. There's like a whole thing about it. But the fastest run for 100% is by Mitch Flower Power with a run of 1 hour and 9 minutes and 38 seconds. You might notice kind of a theme here with who's going to be really good at these Mario speedruns.
Mitch Flower Power is a beast.
That is true.
I just love Mitch Flower Power. They not tree defense. Mitch Flower Power.
You want to take another run at that one?
No, we're just gonna go.
Perfect.
Honestly, I think it's like, what do I always play in? Like, I always play as like Daisy in current day Mario Kart games, because it's more embarrassing to lose to Daisy than anybody else, and I feel like that's Mitch Flower Power.
Alright, the next category is any percent warpless, where you beat the game as quickly as possible, but you don't use any wrong warps or warp whistles. What's a wrong warp? We'll talk about it later.
Getting a little agitated about that, huh?
I didn't know what it meant. I had to look it up. I did a lot of learning today. It's Larry's time to shine. Also, warp whistles may be collected but not used. It wouldn't be faster, I feel like, to do that, but just throwing it out there, it's in the rules. You can collect the whistles if you really want them, but you can't use them.
They're so shiny.
Same deal here. Mitch Flower Power has the first place run, 50 minutes, 25 seconds.
It might be faster to get the first whistle. He might do that in his speedruns.
I could see that being the case. All right. Next is...
Yeah, so can I, guys. Yeah.
Hey, man, butt out. This is Larry. I said it before. It's Larry's time to shine.
Smoked again.
The next... Look, pal. I don't gotta be the first one to tell you. I'm not... You're getting bullied again by me, the joke bit character, Larry Koopa. The third category is gonna be any percent no wrong warp where you beat the game. And this is how you beat it. You use 2 warp whistles in the warp zone to immediately get to World 8 as fast as you can. You'll never guess who's first in this run. It's Mitch Flower Power. He's got to run in 10 minutes, 41 seconds, and 700 milliseconds. Yes, this is the any percent where you skip all the levels. That's where we start counting the milliseconds.
This is the first game we've talked about in Speedrun Corner where we've had to talk about milliseconds.
They do it in some of the other categories, but they only say in the rules, it says don't count milliseconds unless you tie with the first 3 places. So if you're going to get a third place, if you tie with the third place run, then it comes down to milliseconds. But beyond that, kind of don't care for a lot of the other categories. And then the final one, I will say, Mitch Flower Power does not have the first place in this one. This is any percent with glitches allowed. He's got to run at 3 minutes, 2 seconds, 250 milliseconds. He gets the first warp whistle. He goes to World 2. He warps to World 7. He goes to the level with the pipes where it wraps around. You do a whole glitch input thing with the Koopa shells. You essentially spawn a weird pipe door deal, and you enter the glitch door. Glitch door takes you straight to the princess. You win the game. I watched the whole 3-minute run. Didn't know what was happening. He won the game. It was over. So that's just kind of how it is. I know Super Mario World's got the same thing going on, where you can just grab a Koopa shell and do 50 things with it, and then it's yeah, I guess you won the game.
In Super Mario Bros. 3, is the wrong warp? Is the tube that he has to go down, is it invisible?
Yeah, I think it's something to do with
it's
spawning a weird thing.
Yeah, but you can't see the pipe that you have to go down.
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
Wait,
Something along
this
those
is your
lines.
corner. You should be a bit more affirmative about this. You should know.
Who's running? Hey, whose time to shine is it? Is it your time to shine or Larry's time to shine, mister? Look. Somebody messaged Larry today being Larry, write this episode and we gotta record it today. Larry's doing his best running on an energy drink and a cup of coffee. Alright, we're doing our best today. So I'll say this about the speed corner before I take my leave here. 100%, 80% warpless, the most competitive runs. That's what most people are running Super Mario 3 for. There's plenty of people on the leaderboards, thousands of runs. They literally just did an 80% warpless tournament in March. So it is a pretty active community, much like most Mario games. Very popular games tend to have more speedrunners, more active communities, such is the case here. Especially when you get lots of time on AGDQ and these big speedrunning tournaments, Midwest Speed Fest, things like that. The bigger games get more people to watch them, so you have bigger communities about them. We'll drop a link below to some videos. I'll drop the video to that glitch video where he beats it in 3 minutes. It's pretty insane. Yeah, well, I'm taking my leave. Hey, stupid, you can have your seat back.
I didn't think I was going to get bullied this episode. Especially not by Larry Koopa, so...
At least I'm not the only one.
He's probably the least known of the Koopas, as we established earlier.
That's probably why he's so mean.
I didn't even think he was real. He was like Santa Claus. I was like, there's no Larry Koopa, man. Anyways.
Fun fact time.
Yes, please.
We're going to start off by just going for it. We got a lot of facts to get through. We got some facts that y'all may know, some facts that you might not know. We're just going to go for it. According to Shigeru Miyamoto, Super Mario Bros. 3 was conceived as a stage play as displayed by the opening curtain at game launch.
And that's kind of a reference. I mean, it's not a reference, it's its own thing, but Mario 2 on the NES, Super Mario Bros. 2, was a dream, right? So it kind of that's the kind of theory is like
It has relevance.
yeah, it has relevance. Maybe that was the theory was like game 1 is real, you saved the princess, whole deal, and then game 2 is a dream. Game 3 is a stage play about Game 1. You know, that's why you see Bowser at all the Mario Kart tournaments is because, well, I mean, he did one bad thing once, like 20 years ago, but now we're all just kind of buddies and we play golf and tennis together. That's what I've always heard anyways, but yeah.
He was forgiven. Let's talk about the development team here real fast. This is what I think is crazy. We talked about a very similar situation not too long ago. The development team was a team of about 10 people. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. There's no definitive answer to that. It took them 2 years to make this game.
I was looking at a documentary on that, and with it, they put in some bonkers amount of hours in to be able to produce this game.
I can imagine.
Yeah, like insane. Like I'm gonna live at the office for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Yucky.
I know, like, in Japan, like, at your, like, office jobs, like, if you're seen, like, falling asleep from working so much, it's considered, like, you're doing a good job. Keep at it. So, like, I can only imagine what this was like. Just being like, you've been here for 5 days. Not long enough. Keep working at it, bud. You got this. You've been doing great.
Okay, yeah, you guys are doing a great job, but I need 8 more hours of you figuring out if this thing's called the tool belt or the utility belt. I want an answer on my desk, man. Let's talk about the budget. Back in 1986, hey, they made this game for a cool $800,000, which even back then is like a ton of money, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous
Obviously.
money.
Yeah, so they made it for like $800K, somewhere in the realm of $800K to $1.3 million. And if we adjust that today, that's more in the realm of like $3 million-ish dollars.
Inflation, man.
It's still like an insane amount of money to put in a game. Yeah, it was originally going to be, they had designed it, they were going to do like an isometric view, but R&D noticed, playtesters noticed that making the jumps was way too hard in an isometric view, and so they went back to like a 2D side-scroller. I think that would have been too much for people's brains if they were like, also, it's like 2.5D. People would have been like, what is happening in my Mario game right now?
For people that don't know, isometric means like you're looking at a 2D plane, so a flat surface. And on that surface, you can tell that there is a 3D object. You can tell there's a curved ball on there.
Yeah, so it's essentially kind of like, imagine you're looking down at an angle, and so you'd be controlling him kind of almost like half top-down perspective. Think of kind of like a third-point person point of view, where you'd be kind of like behind him, like controlling him around. It's probably be really complicated, so...
I was just going to make the joke that it probably would have required 11 people to make that game, not just 10.
It would have cost another like $200,000, and they would have had to hire one more person. You know,
this game was designed for players of all skill levels. You know, by making bonus coins and 1-ups more available, just was they were trying to get as many people to be able to play this game as possible by any skill level. So you start off, the levels are easier. There's a bunch of coins available to you. You can get 1-ups pretty easy. They're kind of hidden throughout those levels. And as you progress, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 8, they slowly start to get harder and harder. And some aspects of levels will give you a bit more of a challenge than others. We'll talk about that here, I'm sure, shortly. Also, instead of the Tanuki suit, which is your fly around suit, Mario was originally going to be something else. He was originally going to be transformed into a centaur. Horse Mario. Heck yeah.
You guys ever think about how you don't want to exist on this world and instead you'd rather exist in the world where Mario gets turned into a half man, half horse creature? Ever since I read that, I've been kind of thinking about, man, I kind of wish I lived in the world where the Tanuki suit didn't exist, but instead he turned into a centaur man.
And, get this. In today's age, we're dealing with a electronic shortage of chips for computers, and that's slowed...
What kind? Like Doritos or Cheetos, am I right?
Hey! There's a card joke also in there for Doritos. So, like, PS5s are hard to get because of ads, right?
Hey, actually, I read an article today that was like, hey, PS5 prices might spike again because we're still short on chips, so...
Cars are also in short supply because we don't have enough computer chips for, like, their computers.
Maybe, now this is I'm going to take a bold stance here. Maybe we should just make cars without computers. Just saying.
Back in probably was like 87, but 1988, when the game first released in Japan, there was a ROM chip shortage happening. What? Crazy.
Why'd you say it like that?
What? Crazy.
What? That's crazy. You make it sound like you were stealing the ROM chips in 1980.
Hey, don't look at my closet. There's nothing in there.
Well, it's so crazy. I wonder where all those ROM chips went. Selling them for like 3 times the value online.
But this led to a delayed release in North America. So released in Japan 1988, and it was planned to originally release in North America shortly after in 1989, beginning of the year, I think. But that didn't happen. It got pushed back another year to 1990. Now, Nintendo was not going to let that go. They were like, no way, Jose. I'm getting in there. We're going to at least market it to the North Americans. So, Mexico, US, and Canada. That was like their big market that they were trying to go for. So what did they do? They put it in a movie before it released here in the US. It was featured in The Wizard.
That's now The Wizard. Many NES fans may know The Wizard's also very famous for mentioning the Power Glove, in which the character says, "quote It's so bad," which he was correct, just not in the way that he was saying it. It is so bad, not in like bad meaning cool, but in bad meaning like it is just so bad to use.
So that's kind of interesting. And because of that, there was like a huge anticipated hype for Super Mario Bros. 3. And so when it finally released in America, it like sold crazy. I mean, it just shot numbers like out of nowhere. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so let's talk about it now. I'm going to skip around a little bit here. So it sold 4 million carts in Japan, which is insane. Even more insane, it sold 8 million carts in North America. And 250,000 that was sold in just the first 2 days. Thank you, The Wizard movie, for telling us about Mario. It had a $25 million advertising budget, which if we adjust that up for inflation, it'd be $59 million. And let me just ask this is to all the real fans out there. What advertising do you remember more? Any Mario 3 advertising, or the advertising where they put a guy in a big Crash Bandicoot suit and he went over and like wrecked stores and stuff like that to be funny? Because they probably spent less on the guy in the suit, but I remember it more. So just my thought about the amount.
I mean, that was also like, I'm pretty sure that commercial was on like the demo disc at the time too. So like you would load up the demo disc and it would be on there.
It also had a lot of TV play, obviously. In North America alone, the game generated $595 million in revenue. Do we know, anybody know what this game retailed at? Probably like,
I think it'd be
like 1990, so probably like $300. No, I'm kidding.
Probably like $39.99, I would guess.
$40.
$40, yeah.
And an average NES game price, maybe back in the day. But if so, we adjust that for inflation in 2021. $595 million be $1.23 billion, as Dr. Evil would say.
Talk about insane numbers.
Yeah, really. Especially, again, we keep saying this, especially for the NES, which, like, yeah, it's insane that it made that.
Especially, it was at the end of its life cycle, which is insane to have a game that can make $1 billion at the end of its life cycle.
Yep.
And on top of that, like, these numbers really weren't heard of prior to this. I mean, like, there were games that probably like sold like close to 1 million and stuff, but nothing like this. This is insane.
Now you know about the Left Brothers version, dude. They're like, it's not that the typesetter wasn't there that day. It was like, we need more copies now. I don't care what it looks like. Oh, what, the text isn't in the middle? Print the boxes, dude. I gotta go, man. We need more copies. They're selling this thing freaking faster than
left, right, bread. And center. I don't care where you put the bros. Just put it in there.
The text could be upside down for all I care. I need copies of this game out.
So, in 2013, it was reported that the game sold a total of 18 million copies worldwide and 1 million copies on the virtual console. So, another 1 million people paid for this for virtual console.
I mean, there was also a cartoon called The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3. I didn't look up any videos of it. I did see a still of the opening
I've seen
image.
stills.
There's a cartoon released after the game came out where King Koopa, as they call him, they don't call him Bowser. King Koopa tried to take over not just the Mushroom Kingdom, but also the real world. That's some Captain N stuff.
I actually owned the DVD set.
Amazing.
A fun fact about Super Mario Bros. 3 as well is the fact that Bowser's red hair was popularized in Super Mario Bros. 3. And so basically from this point on, his hair's red.
Interesting. Well, let's talk about what we like the most about this game, what we don't like the most. Alex, why don't you start, because you hate this game so much?
Just smoked again, man. I just can't. I can't break away. I gotta invest in
like an air horn or something for this show.
And a fire extinguisher.
Oh my gosh.
That would be such a great visual
gag.
We
need a first aid kit for the amount of damage I've taken.
That would just be such a visual gag if the listeners at home just heard a fire extinguisher go off and you'd be like, now I'm covered in fire extinguisher stuff.
The best feature by far is the new abilities that were presented to us, the player. I've watched tons of Super Mario Maker Kaizo runs, which Kaizo is like hidden blocks and stuff. There's like tons of it. You've probably seen in like
it's like
games.
It's insanely hard Mario.
Yeah.
They make it difficult on purpose.
Instead of a fun secret, it's like, oh yeah, you thought that was safe? It's not.
Yeah, you go to jump somewhere and a block blocks your jump and then you die.
But I always thought, like, where was this in all of Mario's history? All these interesting, like, features and enemies I've, like, never seen anywhere else. Because I played a ton of Super Mario World. Played a ton of Sunshine. I mean, just, like, I played all these other games. I played the first one a lot. I played 2 a lot. I never got around to 3 for some reason, like early childhood.
And that's why you are the way that you are.
Oh, gosh, again.
It's really affected your worldview, and yes, we can all tell.
See, this is me dying now.
Dude, don't make me get Larry back in here, man.
It's no surprise that this is one of the best-selling NES games ever made. If I had to pick one area that I really didn't care for, though, in all of this, yeah, I'm getting dirty looks from like the both of you basically here, would be that there's like random difficulty spikes, and I don't mean like the game just gets too hard. It's like you play one level and you're basically like 4 jumps, jump on a boss, and you get through the level and it takes you like, less than 30 seconds. And then the next one is this giant fish just chasing you around. And like if you don't get to like these perfect jumps, that's it. You're done. You can't do anything because guess what the fish does? He just drags you down to the bottom of the ocean. Oh, and so like, yeah, I might be a little frustrated. I might be a little salty.
I remember when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, I had a lot of trouble with that level 2, Alex. Don't worry about it.
Oh, man.
But yeah.
This episode's been great. And Mario, Alex, we should have you on more often.
I don't know. I'm ending it there. Goodbye.
He's leaving. No, it was tough nailing down what I liked the most about Mario 3. But I think I'm going to stick with the soundtrack, which I think is iconic in more ways than one. You've almost certainly, if you played a Mario game, you've heard music from Mario 3. Almost certainly. A ton of the music, ton of the themes from levels have lived on past this game into future levels, or into future games. They stated how influential Koji Kondo's work has been on video games just in general, not just on the Mario franchise or, the work he did on the Zelda franchise, but just on video games in general. I think a lot, so many composers have worked with him on future Mario games, and I just can't imagine what an honor it would be to work with the guy who literally like made video game music be as popular as it is, pretty much. But yeah, my least favorite is water levels. I don't like the water levels. I don't like how Mario controls when he swims. I don't like the stupid fish that eats you every time you land in the water.
So frustrating.
There was the level with the jellyfish where you just swim through the jellyfish and the bloopers are there, and I'm like, I wish I wasn't here right now. So that would be my least favorite, is water levels. But at least the frog suit helps. The water levels were so bad, they literally made a power-up that was like, okay, we have to give them something to make the water levels easier. So, all right, Mario, Alex, what is your favorite and least favorite?
I gotta say that I'll probably go back to it. I talked a little bit about it earlier, that you could look at the NES and you could look at Super Nintendo graphics, and if you told somebody back in the day that like, oh, Super Mario Bros. 3 is actually just a Super Nintendo game, like the graphics were so good on that system that they were just like way ahead of anything else they could have at that time, where it would have been like very passable for the Super Nintendo, which I think is like impossible in today's standard, like going from like a Switch to anything else or that Nintendo produced. I do love too that the replay factor on it, that I can go back to that like every single time that I go back and replay through it. I always enjoy playing it. I would say that there's probably 2 things that I think that could have been improved in it. One, that some of the levels are really short and that you can like speed run them in like 10 seconds. And so I would love to be able to even have like just some more bulk to a couple of the levels just so it wasn't so short. Third, I would say in the mid castles that those bosses are just so simple that, I mean, if you're right next to them, that you can just beat them in the exact same pattern every single time. And I wish they would have put like, more platforms in. I wish they would have had like the floor is lava, or like have them start flying right away so that we had a little bit of variance in those castles. Like the ships at the end where like, some of them will bounce sooner. They'll have different platforms that you can get stuck in crevices to just at least mix up those mini bosses a little bit better.
So let's talk about reasons why it deserves to be on the backlog. So for reference, the backlog is our ongoing list of, it's kind of like the Hall of Fame, right? So when we talk about a game on the podcast, we talk about why it deserves to be on the backlog for one reason or another.
I've got a be-all, end-all, and it's any game that costs $1 million to produce and spends 25 times much on advertising deserves it.
Yeah, pretty much. Not only that, but Mario 3 is the platformer for NES. There is no game that comes close to being, as we spoke about, as complex or as visually striking as this, especially for the time frame that it came out. And the lasting impact of this game not only has been felt, but continues to be felt. Literally, games are still, basing ideas. If they make a new Mario side-scroller in the next, 10 years, they'll just do Mario 3 again. Not kidding. They'll be like, it's got 8 worlds. Each world is, a different theme. We're going to play all the tracks you love. There's going to be new power-ups. Literally, the last one they did was the ice flower or whatever, right? They're like, yeah, new power-ups. We'll do that.
To this day, people are even still reviewing this game. It's been out since 1990, and people are still throwing out reviews like, hey, let me tell you about this.
Yeah, it's popular, has been popular, will
But
continue to
honestly,
be popular.
anybody who would write a review or do a podcast on it really needs to get a life.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you're here listening to the podcast, thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. But any other fools who would do a podcast about this game, man, tell them to go get a life.
Get out of here.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be it for us tonight.
Been wonderful having you on, Mario Alex.
Yes, it's been
always a
wonderful
pleasure.
having you on and bullying normal Alex.
I mean, it's not really bullying when you know it's true, so.
Wow. Ouch.
I feel like my time on the podcast might be in jeopardy.
All right, I'm Josh.
I'm Alex.
And I'm the new Alex that's going to take over next week. Mario Alex.
Mario Alex. Perfect.
Yikes.
All right. Good night, everyone, and enjoy. Maybe this episode was all a dream, just like Mario 2.
Like previous Super...
It is,
happened.
Super,
Dude.
it is Super Mario.
It is.
If
It's
you
throwing
mess
me
up,
off.
if you mess up one more time, we're doing Snoopy for real. Get the stakes raised.